We are going to be painting some dahlias today. Dahlias are my favorite flower. They are so intricate, so beautiful, so petally, so gorgeous. I cannot wait to dig into these. We're going to give it kind of a fallish tone. These ones in my garden stay sometimes all the way through till Thanksgiving. So we're going to give it some really nice fall feels and a lot of color because they're that last little pop of color from the summer. So let's get into it. Hello, I'm Kate. I'm a watercolor artist and welcome to my channel where we are all about being bold and trying something new. Together we will break down watercolor concepts so you can feel empowered to dive into the wonderful world of watercolor and make a splash. What's the deal with all the different types of watercolor paint? I'm here to tell you. Beautiful piece of art you made! It's so colorful, it's so bold, you were so brave! Are you gonna mess up? Probably. But are you gonna learn something new with every mistake that you make? Absolutely. We are gonna be painting some dahlias today. Dahlias are my favorite flower. They are so intricate, so beautiful, so petally, so gorgeous. I cannot wait to dig into these. We're going to give it kind of a fallish tone. These ones in my garden stay sometimes all the way through till Thanksgiving. So we're going to give it some really nice fall feels and a lot of color because they're that last little pop of color from the summer. So let's get into it. We're going to start with this big one. Now let's mix up our colors here. We are going to use this alizarin crimson, and I'm going to add just a teeny bit of yellow ochre. This is a cafe au lait dahlia, so they've got this nice creaminess to them, and we are going to go ahead and dig right in. So let's start with the center. This is going to be the most pigmented in here. And then as we work our way out, we are just going to keep adding more and more water to our brush. And so this is a little bit different color than what we're going to find out in nature. But when working with a limited palette, sometimes it's nice to tweak it so it all flows together. And excuse the dog just leaping and bounding, frolicking about outside. He is just living his best life. Good old Murph man. He loves to just pace in front of my shed. Like, I don't know what he would do to protect me. He would just go and lick everyone. Give them kisses. So again, I'm not even adding any paint. I'm just going straight in for water. I do want to be careful about these edges though. I want to keep them wet and active because as you're painting, if you let this edge dry, you're going to get a little bit of a harsh line. So we're just filling this in. I love to just do almost all water the edge and pull it in so we're getting a really light covering. If you go outside the lines, just go ahead and take your paper towel and you can just dab it right up. No sweat. I'm just so excited to paint this. Painting everywhere. Maybe arguably too much coffee this morning as well. Okay, so now we're going to use that wet on wet technique. We're going to just kind of fill in here, and I'm going to do this underside. I don't know why, but for me the sun is always coming from the top right-hand corner. So I'm just adding in a little extra pigment here, kind of on these back flowers to the under petals, if you will, to just give it a little extra depth, and we'll come back in later and add a little bit more pizzazz as we come back to it. Okay. And then I'm actually going to take a dry brush and just lightly lift off some of that right here off the top. So we've got just a little bit of a highlight. Okay. Love it. I think we're ready to roll. Okay, we're gonna do this one right here. And we're gonna use our purple. This is the Perlin Violet. And again, I'm just gonna go ahead and cover this whole baby. And I'm gonna go pretty dark with this one. I like making these ones a lot more saturated with the fewer petals because there's not as much detail to see. Whereas with these lighter ones, I'll probably make them, the little ones with the little petals, I'll probably make them a little bit lighter so you can really see the details of their petals. So I've started on the bottom left-hand corner and I'm pulling the color up through the flower. The bottom corner is going to be the darkest and this is going to be lighter up here. Just be careful. These are probably going to touch because I didn't wait for them to dry, but I'm okay with that because they're not too dissimilar in color. Let's do some of our yellow ochre. We're going to make a little bit of an orange. So we're taking our crimson here. Got a nice little orange here. Just a little more of that yellow ochre. I think I'm going to make these little doo-doos, these little doodads, this nice orange color. So in real life, most of my dahlias are a little bit brighter than this, but I just really want to bring these dahlias into the fall palette because they're just so pretty, and I think this is just the right mix of fall and summer. Gosh, I love these little cuties. So cute. Okay. Let's do, I'm just going to be careful and not touch the petals, but if you want to give yours a little blow dry, don't be shy, go ahead and do it. I'm probably going to regret this, we'll see. No, well, you know what, I'm okay with it. Let's let them do their thing. So I'm taking more of this orange. I'm going to let those just mix a little bit because I like that this doesn't have to be so rigid. And then to add a little variety to this one right here, because we'll add some more detail in to differentiate them, but I'm gonna just add a little bit of this burnt sienna to this orange mixture just to give us a little edge here, just a little bit of differentiation for this one back here. It's almost a marigold color. And that's okay. We're the artists. We can do what we want. If you want to use other paints and make them bright and or summery, go for it. I will not rain on your parade, but I am just living for these fall colors right now. Ooh, they're so cute. I like to add a little more pigment to the middle where all the petals are clustered. So maybe like a little aggressive. So I'm just sopping up some with my paintbrush. Perfect. Okay. Then I'm gonna do, let's see, I'm gonna do these two in red, the crimson. These ones are gonna be a little darker than that middle one. These are gonna be the straight crimson. We haven't added in any yellow ochre. These ones are gonna be a little more bold. that crimson's gorgeous, isn't it? What a beaut. And if you want to use one of your smaller brushes, like I think I'm gonna pop over to the 3 here. You can see the size on the, I was using the 5, but go ahead and start using the 3 because these are really small. If you were doing a sunflower, most of it can be done with a 5, but these, the other 2, probably gonna need a smaller brush because I'm noticing that I'm bumping up against the lines a little bit. And I don't want this to look too messy. I'm just so excited to paint these. I've been thinking about making these for such a long time. And I'm just so excited to share them with you. It's happening. It's finally happening. Just be mindful as you're painting around all these edges. You're going to want to make sure that you're keeping this line activated and wet so you're not a harsh line. If you do, you can just wiggle your brush over it and wiggle it away. Ah, so pretty! I'm actually going to turn my paper around, work on this one. Same thing, we're going to use the alizarin crimson. Alizarin? Alizarin? I need to do some research. Alizarin, I think. So if you don't know me and my work, I am a self-taught watercolor artist. I picked this up a couple years ago when my daughter was first born, and I needed something that was just for me, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I've been going ever since. And I do not have a formal art training. Took some art classes in high school, but nothing really serious. I've just been digging into it on my own and watching a lot of tutorials, and so you do not have to have gone to art school in order to paint or consider yourself an artist. There's so many other ways to define yourself as an artist, and I just want that to be a reminder that it's never too late to start a new hobby or try something new or put yourself out of your comfort zone. Because you never know, you might find your passion. I certainly did find mine. I guess all that is to say is that sometimes I don't know how to say the word, so I need to go look it up later. And it's always, I find that I'm always learning something new. Even as I'm painting this with you, I am learning new things. Because if you knew everything, where's the fun in that? It'd be a pretty boring life. If you go over the edges, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't sweat it. Nobody's gonna notice. Alright, so I'm going to pick up some of this pigment from over here. I want this part to seem really light. This back part can seem a little bit darker. I'm good with that. Okay. Now, oh my gosh, I'm making a mess. Look at that splatter. Guess it's all in the name, right? Okay. I think that's dry enough. I'm going to do my little orange boo-boo over there. So again, mix up some yellow ochre and a little bit more of this alizarin crimson. I'm even going to grab, I liked that burnt sienna added in. Oh yeah, baby. So pretty. Alright. Let's do that. You're just filling in the shape. If you want to go down to your size 1 brush, you totally can. Get all those little corners, little nooks and crannies. That's in there. Okay. Now let's do the purple there. And I want to leave the centers of these kind of open. So actually, I might just paint it and then use my paper towel to just sop up the center So it has a nice subtle, oh my golly, these dogs will be the, the death of me. Just saying hi to your doggies. Hey, do you have dogs? Say hi. Alright, so there we go. I am just gonna slightly dab around here. I think I'm actually gonna just dip my brush just around the very tips of the petals, just intensify it just a little bit, get a little more zest here. Ugh, look at how deep that perlin. Ugh, so pretty. Okay. Okay, and I don't want to fuss with it too much. Of course I'm gonna fuss with it too much, but okay. Stop it. All right, we're done. Okay, I'm gonna do all these little ones in that purple. A little darker. I'm not sure what color I want to do this one right here yet, so stay tuned. So this is a part that already dried a little bit, so I'm just taking my brush. It's not super wet, it's not super dry, and I'm just gently brushing along that hard edge so that it helps make that line go away. All right, and we'll just fill that middle in. And I'm just going to use the lifting technique where I use my brush like a little mop. I'm going to pick that up because we're going to add some yellow into the centers soon. I might add just a smidge more purple here while it's still wet. Oh, so pretty. Okay. Okay, maybe a little more. Oh, that was so pretty. Okay. Alright. Same thing, we've got the nice purple here. I'm actually noticing that this middle part, I do want to just dab it just a little bit to keep it light. Okay. Again, just dabbing the middle to protect it and keep it light. And okay, I think I'm gonna do this one similar color to this. So we're gonna take the alizarin crimson and just a bit of the yellow ochre, and we're gonna keep it really light. Really, really light. It's like a little too orange for me. So again, this is like soft, almost entirely all water. I actually like how this one has a little bit more yellow in it than that one, so when I go over it I might add a second layer, so we'll see. I'm like the sloppiest painter ever. I'm always slinging paint everywhere. It's probably a good thing my signature move is the splatters. Okay, so I am loving where this is going. For this one, I am going to mix up the alizarin crimson and the purple, the Perlin violet. We're going to get a really nice, rich, reddy purple delight here. So it's somewhere in between these two. I love what's happening here. It's just so pretty. right, and it looks like my kiddos are coming in from the park. So I'm gonna finish this flower and we're gonna take a little break. Go to the bathroom, get a drink of water, get more coffee. We're gonna let these dry before we go in for round 2. All right, let me just take my towel. I'm just gonna lightly dab here. Okay. All right, stay tuned for round 2. Okay, we are back and I can't wait to finish the rest of this. Had a little snack. So I've got energy and ready to paint. I'm loving these colors. We're gonna go in with the yellow ochre now. And what I love about yellow ochre is it kind of feels like it's almost in between a gouache and watercolor because it is so creamy. And I'm just making some little, I'm not even really following the lines where the circles are. I'm just adding it on top. It's gonna add even more texture. I'm just using the very tip of my brush. If you wanna use your size 1 brush, go for it. I'm okay with the 3 though, because we're just getting in there. Love it. Ooh, so cute. We're adding in the details. So I'm gonna do this to all the ones with the little spotty spots. God, these are so sweet. I don't know why. I just love them. Okay. All right. And there we go. All right, let's go ahead and I'm gonna start digging into this one. So this one we have our alizarin crimson. Should have looked that up when I had my snack. And we're adding in some yellow ochre to make that nice kind of cafe au lait color. Very pretty. And I'm going to take a moment and do the very insides of, oh my goodness, too much. Do the very insides of this here, of these petals, which really show a lot of depth. We're imagining where the sun is coming from. It's coming from down here, so I'm going to go ahead and add in some darker shadows here. And I'm really, I mean, there's hardly any paint on the paintbrush. You really don't need to load it up. If it's starting to get like too gloopy or whatever, go ahead and wipe your paintbrush on the paper towel, and that'll help clear some of it off. We're adding in the second layer here to just give it some depth. Like this is a light flower. We really don't want this to get to the point where it's so dark that it loses that lightness. Okay, and you don't have to do every single one. It's just doing the ones behind darker than the ones in the foreground. It gives it that sense of depth. Anytime you see the petal kind of curving up, those are usually going to be lighter. And as I'm grabbing my paint, I'm kind of going to different parts of the palette, so I'm getting a cool mix of colors, and I don't hate it. I love that it's just a little bit here, a little bit there. It feels very natural, very organic to me, and that is what we like, especially for flower paintings. So I'm really gonna add in a lot of darker colors in here on anything that looks like it's beneath something else. And this is gonna give that feeling of depth. So even this, I'm loving these soft kind of orangey pinks for fall. I think it's so beautiful. We're getting some family photos taken soon, and I specifically was like, I need to do it in a dahlia field. So I can't wait to show you guys that. And just remember, if you find these tips helpful, I have all kinds of resources for newbie watercolor artists. I have a ton of free videos on YouTube that are growing every week. I have an awesome newsletter where I share all kinds of insider tips and tricks. I'm very active on TikTok and Instagram, where I'm doing lots of mini tutorials. So if you just like to get the quick and dirty of it, you'll get lots of tips on there. I come from a background of, I used to be a middle school librarian, and so I love helping people, connecting people with information that they need to learn and grow, and so it brings me great joy to share that with all of you. So I hope to see you on the interwebs on your painting journey. I love, love, love seeing the artwork that you create. So if you ever do feel brave enough to share, I would love to see it. To make sure you tag me at Splatter and A&D Bloom. My subtle plug. And you don't have to do the same ones as me. I'm just doing my thing. You just do what feels right, or you can copy it exactly as I do. So it's slowly but surely taking shape. And of course, I can't help myself. I'm gonna have to share my fun fact about dahlias with you. Did you know? So dahlias, usually people get them from tubers, which are like, those look like little potatoes in the ground. And if you get a dahlia and separate its tubers, it's gonna be an exact clone of that dahlia. It's gonna be the same type, but if you collect the seeds of a dahlia, it could be anything. It's like all bets are off. You have no idea what that dahlia is gonna look like. And I just think that is so wild and so cool. Like, nature, you are just full of surprises. And I'm just slowly adding on layers. I'm going really slow because you can always make things darker, but it's a lot harder to make things lighter after you've already painted it. And these I'm actually making the shadow closer to the top because they're kind of curving in here just to give them a little variation. Again, it's mostly water, not a ton of paint. Though the little dots of paint seem like they're pretty small, they should be enough to get you everything you need for all three of these paintings, plus a little bit then some after. So if you're finding you're running out of paint, try to add more water and start your layers slowly building. And if you're like, no, Kate, I need all the paint, and that's okay. Your personal style just might be much more concentrated watercolor paint, and that is a-okay. All right, so this is a little brighter than I was ready to go, but I kind of like it. Okay. I can mess with this all day, but I'm gonna make just a few more little moves here. And I'm gonna move on to the next one. Because, I mean, really, you could really get into this. My personal style is, if you look at the artwork that I make for myself and for my original pieces, it's gonna be a lot of very detailed petal work. That's because I just love diving head on into these elaborate petals. I don't know what it is. It just makes me very happy. So I will spare you the micromanagement here, and we'll just leave it at that. All right, so since we're already working with that color, let's go ahead and do the same thing for this one. And I actually am gonna go ahead and use my size 1 that comes with the package. If you have smaller detailed brushes and want to do that, go for it. All right, mixing up a little bit more of that yellow, but I want to keep these light. They need to be different from these ones right here. I guess they don't need to be, but I would like them to be. And again, to do the subtle layering, I add the paint down in the corner where I want the most pigmentation to be, where the most shadow is going to be, and then I dry my brush off and I pull it outward. So here I've got my dark. I'm wetting and drying my brush, and then I kind of pull and push it out with my brush, getting that middle ground. It's very subtle. It's not a ton of water. Like if it starts to look pooly, is that a word? Pooly? The water's pooling on your paper. It's too much water. Try to maybe wipe it on your towel beforehand. So this is my first time painting this design, and I'm so pleased with how it's coming out. The outline, it's fun to share this moment with you. I draw the composition on my iPad, and you know, I think it's gonna go well, but I don't really know until I start actually painting it. So this is really fun to see it unfold and see how the colors play together, and it's probably going to be my new favorite day at work is the painting the watercolor kits. Ooh, you know, that's kind of just spilling in there, but I was going to smooth it out, but I kind of don't want to. I think I'm just going to let it go. Just like Elsa. Okay, that's fine. All right, I think that one is good. Let's keep working on, should we get into this one? So you can see this one kind of dried a little bit weird, but it's totally okay. So this one is the all crimson one. And for this darker layer, I am going to mix up the crimson and then a little bit of the purple. And I think I want to do just a little bit of this brown. Just to give it that kind of like, I don't know, kind of mocha-y, chocolatey look. Oh yeah, that was a good choice. So I just picked up a little bit of the Van Dyke brown. It's mostly the crimson mixed with a little bit of the Perylin violet. This one's definitely a size 1 brush or smaller if you have one at home. And just go slow. Usually my head is like on top of the painting. Like close enough to smear my hair in it. I'm trying to be back so that my head's not in the camera, but if you need to get up close and personal, probably means we need glasses, but it's totally okay. Get on in there. You do what you need to do for the art. We're just going through again, picking the darker spots, the spots that are going to be in the shadow. Remember, if we're looking at this composition, and here's the top corner, the sun is coming from this bottom angle, or not bottom angle, the top angle. That can help us remember where our shadows are going to be. And this inner part, I maybe should have started a little bit lighter, but that's okay. And so you can see I did a couple petals at once, and then went back and softened that line, especially when they're so little. Sometimes going back and forth can take a really long time, so you can do a few at once. Well, let's just get on. I'm gonna get almost all Van Dyke brown here. And really get into this middle part, establish some dark moments here. We could do a lot more. I might wait for it to dry a little bit more and then add some, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to this little cutie right here. So same thing, let's mix up some more of our crimson, our purple, our violet, and then let's get some Van Dyke brown. Okay, and this is going to be the dark side, and this is going to be the light side because we've just turned it upside down. So we've gotten some practice. I'm feeling bolder, so I'm starting with a little bit of a heavier hand here. I kind of know where I want my darkest darks to be. Definitely on this side. And I've dragged my brush out and I'm smoothing out these lines. And if you don't want to smooth it and you want it to be a little more piecey, that's totally fine. You can, especially if you're following the flow of the petal, it can make a really nice effect there. So follow your gut. Okay. Here. When you darken some of these, it really helps make the front ones that aren't as dark pop. Go. Really show off. In watercolor, one of the best things you can do is leave the lightest parts light. That can be almost one of the more dramatic things. If we were to do this super detailed, there would be parts of this flower that, like right in here, that would be just basically all the way white. Like you wouldn't even have any paint on the page. And that would be the highlight of it that really makes it stand out from the rest. Really up the drama. Okay, I'm gonna add some lighter darks. It's an oxymoron in here, just to make these light ones really pop out. Again, I don't want to get too deep because I could really get into this. No, we don't have all day. Maybe we do. I hope you have all day to paint. Okay, do just a little bit here. Okay, and I added that nice, that's almost straight crimson, and I really like how that's looking, so I might add a couple more pops of that here and there just to really make that shine, emphasize that. I like it in the middle here, being what gives it emphasis. Okay, now I'm going to go back and smooth out some of that. Okay, nice. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. I think we're good. Okay, now let's go. Ooh, do you see what's happened here? This is so fun. I remember when we let the purple touch this orange? I just think that's so beautiful. I really want to keep that element of it. So we're trying to remember, this one was mostly purple. Here, so let's go ahead and darken some of the darks. Again, starting at our bottom. And if you need to label which way is the top, because I know it can get kind of topsy-turvy, this little cutie is in the top right corner, and that's how you can know. And our main flower is pointing upward. I do think I want this one to be like a pretty dark flower, so I'm probably going to spend a fair amount of energy on these back flowers. I might even come in again with an additional top layer. So we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. This Perylene Violet is just so vibrant, and it's hard not to want to just paint everything with it. But as I'm getting closer to this green one, or green, getting closer to the orange one, I do want to lighten up so that I can make sure that that orange shows through. So maybe I will just snag a little bit of that. Feel free to move your paper as you need to. And here I'm not doing anything too fancy. I'm just kind of filling in full on these back ones to really give it some oomph. And this one is it's a little messier. The colors are kind of bleeding in together here. I don't hate it. Sometimes you just gotta let the water do what it's gonna do. Is it because I'm impatient? Well, sure, but I also like it, so then it's okay. If you're like, oh, Kate, I don't know, is this okay? Yeah. Do you like it? Then it's okay. That's all that matters. It's your art. I'm going to just a little bit there. Okay, and then I think I might let that one sit for a little while and come back to it. Let's dig into this. So this one was the purple and some crimson. Nice little combo. I'm going to do probably a little bit more purple, less crimson, and we're just going to, again, emphasize the petals that are in the background so that the ones in the foreground really pop. These ones are a little bit more simple because they only have one layer of petals. But no less elegant, am I right? And it's not included in the kit, but something that's really speaking to me with this color combination is like a dusty blue shale kind of background. I don't know why, but if you do that at home, I would love to see it. I just think it would be so beautiful. All right, and I'm actually going to take some Van Dyke brown here, mixed with a little burnt sienna. Let's add in, just to give it a little bit more interest here. Some little dots. I like that. Okay. So let's do these ones. And for these, I am going to brighten them up a little bit. I'm going to use mostly crimson over the purple, and you'll see how nicely it layers everything together. This is called a glaze when you do this type of layering, and this is probably my most used watercolor technique. I think I mentioned in a different video, in the sunflower video, that it reminds me of stained glass windows. It's like you just see just the hintiest hint of the purple underneath. I'm not going to go too much more in depth here. I really like it. I really like it where it is. And then I'm going to take my yellow ochre. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. All right. Great. Okay, let's get in on this one. Do want a little bit of purple on there. That's probably the most far back one. Can we just take a moment and scream about how pretty this is? Like, I just love the two colors and how they're showing off together. They're just here to be stars. And once I get this all filled in with just the littlest hint of the crimson, I'm gonna drop in some purple to give it some more of that drama. I like that these little ones are really bold. That to me is just such a lovely touch. All right, and I'm adding a little bit of shadow here too, because it's hiding under this little mini cafe au lait. So you gotta give that some little attention as well. All right. Let's go ahead and get in on that one. And you'll notice I'm moving my paper around so that I can get the best angles and not drag my hands through everything. So again, just doing a nice gentle layer of mostly crimson in here. You know what? I really like how that crimson is dropping in here, so I might just do a little bit more over there. Oh, all right. Maybe just a little smidge of purple there. Okay, I am happy where that's at. I'm gonna just add a little of this brown interest to the center of these ones, just for a little texture. All right, so then I'm gonna do a little bit of the yellow and mostly the burnt sienna. Well, yes. And maybe, dare I say, a hint of crimson? No, that's more than a hint. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that nice deep color. Okay, so if we recall, the top is up here. So this little bubba down here is gonna be mostly in shadow. So again, we could go super micromanagey into these petals, but you know what? We're just gonna be easy breezy, beautiful cover girl today, and just do a nice little, just a little hint. I love the second layer. I might come in and do just like a bit here inside these petals, just to give it a little bit of attention, but we don't want to overdo it and have to really go in there for all of them. Ooh. Okay. All right. I am pretty happy with where that is. I might even just do like a little bit of the Van Dyke brown mixed in with what we got. There we go. Here I'm just taking my dry brush, kind of moving it around where we want. Okay, great. Love it. So here, I'm going to make this one a little bit darker so that it gives the one on top a little bit more forefront attention. And I haven't encountered any dahlias this color personally. Maybe they're out there, but I don't mind it. It's giving me marigold. It's giving me fall. It's just kind of everything we need it to be right now. And that's okay. We are making the rules. Also, if you know a dahlia that is this color, please let me know. You gotta tell me, because that would be super fun. Okay, so this one, I almost want to add a little more yellow to this one, maybe right here. Now that I'm looking at it, I might just throw in some yellow on top of here while it's wet. It's fun. Okay, we'll come back with a little bit more of that dark color and get in some of those more intricate petals. But I like the second layer that we've got going on in general. Okay, so this one is going to be closer to the sun source, so we're just going to really bring out the oranges. We're going to leave the top mostly as is, but I really want to bring out that sienna. Okay. Ooh. Alright, so let's dig into this one now. We've already kind of done this one. We're just adding a little more oomph. And this orange one, we really want to preserve that orange just because it is so beautiful, but we still need to make it the purple flower. So I'm just adding in a hint. Ooh! Let's let it slide. Let's let it slide. We'll keep it there. Okay, so we're gonna just let this dry for a little bit and we'll come back to it. All right, let's get into this one right here. I'm gonna go ahead and give this just a couple little darker spots. Let's get a few more in here. We're gonna give this one a little bit more attention. And then we're gonna be done. Here we go, adding the final detail. Just getting the darkest darks here. This one I think up close looks kind of sloppy. I just was so excited to paint this, I couldn't even focus. I was like, let's just get the paint on there. So hopefully you went a little slower than I did. Oh man, I just love dahlias, what can I say? I'm just getting this inside. Just a little bit more here. Alrighty. Oh, a second little one behind here. Look at you, you sneaky little dude. Alrighty. I think we're done. How pretty is that? Again, if you are feeling brave enough to share this, I would love, love, love to see what you painted, if you did different colors or switched around which ones were which. I would love to see it. So make sure you tag me at Splatter and Bloom, and happy painting!